modern carriage. Me and Han, who's back there. We just started the Dingle Camino about 10 minutes ago, and it's supposed to be thunderstorm and lashing raining now. There seems to be some blue stuff in the sky. I don't know what that's about. The forecast looks sketchy for the next couple of days. We're getting very lucky right now, I think. So the plan is to begin the 61-kilometre trek in Tralee Town in County Kerry after torrential rain and thunder through the night. After finding out there was 2 small Atlantic storms passing through the south of Ireland, we would enter the wet and windy foothills of the Tralee of Mish Mountains. Me and my partner Hannah will be hiking through the peninsula, stopping in B&Bs along the way and witnessing some of the most incredible landscapes I have ever seen, hoping to reach the town of Dingle in 3 days' time. The Kerry Camino was an early pilgrimage route known to be in use from the 6th century after Catholicism had taken root in Ireland. People would flock from all over Ireland to this peninsula where they could get a boat to Spain from traders or travellers at the harbour where Dingle stands today. From here they would cross the Celtic Sea to La Coruña and continue to Santiago to the burial place of St. James and the modern finishing point to the Spanish Camino. Today most people finish the Kerry Camino at St. James's Church just off the main street in Dingle, although myself and Hannah, being non-religious, will likely finish up somewhere with a pint of plain. I think I spoke too soon. We just got absolutely pelted out of it with hail. There was some thunder coming in from the mountains. Classic Kerry community style. Some fella just pulled up in his car, came out of his drive and was like, do you want to hide in the house there for a bit? We were like, yeah, please. We just stood in this little porch outside of his house until the rain passed, because it was serious business. Oh, you'd never get that in Dublin, let me tell you. If it was pissing rain and you're more likely somebody would drive through a puddle to wet you more than to let you in their house for a minute. I think up in the mountains I saw that it was about 70-kilometre winds, which is just no go. Wouldn't go near any peaks and that sort of wind. Just after getting onto the mountain trail, and I thought we're only maybe 150 meters from sea level, and the wind is fierce. I'm glad we're not going any higher than this today. I think this is about as high as we go. Jesus Christ. These mountains that we're kind of skirting around at the minute, they're the Tralee of Mish Mountains. The mountain range is named after Princess Mish MacDaradán, the daughter of King Daradán, who landed in Ireland as part of the Gael invasion from Spain. The local bands of warriors alongside the Tuatha De Danann defeated the invaders at the Battle of Fintragh in modern Ventry after a year and a day of fighting. The commander of battle, Fionn McCool, beheaded King Dara in front of his daughter Mish, sending her into a grief-fueled frenzy, drinking her dead father's blood before disappearing into these very mountains. Any person to pass through the mountain range was hunted and killed by the feathered and clawed creature Mish had become. The King of Munster ordered their capture, but no person survived once they entered her mountains, until the king's harp player, Dubh Ruaish, volunteered. With just his harp playing skills, he was convinced he could return the beast to her human form. On his first night, Mish approached him, ready to tear him apart like any other. But memories of her past life rose to the top of her mind when she heard the harpist's music. She calmed instantly and decided not to kill Dubh Ruaish. They ate fresh cooked deer together and drank the curative waters of the mountains, still known to this day to aid mental health problems due to its lithium content. Mish and Dove spent over 2 months together in the mountains until she had returned to human form and her mourning period had ended. Dove brought her back to the King of Munster, where the two were married, and the mountains of Mish were safe to pass through once again. We're nearing the end of the day. You can see the road from here, and I think I can see camp in the distance. Dying for a nice pint, a bit of warmth, get out of the wind, and more than anything, dying for a bit of food. Starving. We descended from the hills into a trail tunnelling through young forest and wild growth, crossing several streams until we were met by an abandoned village. At the end of the old village was a fairy tree, usually a hawthorn or a holly. It's tradition to tie a ribbon of some sort and make a wish on the tree. These trees are seen as a connection to the old pagan gods of Ireland and possibly portals into the other world for the gods to pass through. My wish of sausages and mash came true fast enough. We woke in our B&B to an amazing sunrise, a great breakfast and a sleepy dog named Hugo in the junction house. We quickly set off on day 2 to get ahead of the weather. The beginning of day 2 on the County Camino. It's pretty nice views. I can't even begin to describe the hunger when we got to camp last night. Camp is the name of the village, by the way. We didn't camp. We got into the B&B and your man was like, "You want to have a shower or do you want a cup of tea?" And we were like, "No, food." We just dropped our gear in the room, dried off, ran into the pub across the road and we ordered way too much food. Oh, but it was phenomenal. It was so good. Because we didn't have lunch yesterday. We didn't have breakfast yesterday. It was so stupid. So today we had a good breakfast in the form of sausages and pudding. We started about 25 minutes ago. We left at 8:30 and there's a storm supposed to hit at about 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. Your man John from the B&B reckoned it would take us about 2.5 hours to get to Inch Beach, which is near the end of where we'll be today in Anniscall. Sunrise this morning was unbelievable, but the first thing John said to us when we walked into the dining room this morning was "red sky in the morning, shepherd's warning," which basically means it's going to absolutely bucket it down. So once we can get ahead of that, it'll be all good. Are you serious? There's no bridge. Oh look, there is. To the left.
Oh.
It's only a little bit flooded. We're right up now. I think this is the highest point of the whole hike, the 3 days. It's only about 250-300 meters ish. The scale, the kid of like filming and taking pictures, it never seems to capture the scale when you're here in real life. We're just coming to the top here. What an amazing spot. You're just surrounded by hills and mountains, and I just got a glimpse of over the hill here. Just throwing a blackberry.
Have it, it's nice.
It's 11:30. We just reached Inch Beach and the storm is about to come in. We're just talking to two women up the way and they were like, oh yeah, in a rush. We're like, yeah, a little bit, yeah. There's a yellow storm warning coming in, so you'll also have to excuse my awful Kerry accent. I can't help myself, it's such a... I find the Kerry accent and the Donegal accent are just general sort of northwest Ireland accent very contagious. I spend a day in either of those regions and I end up speaking like that for a week. It's like a bleeding slip and slide here, man. Just coming down off the farmer's land. I don't know how far her hands, probably can't even see her anymore. She did the Camino, the Spanish Camino last month, and she did it in her runners and she was like, I know them well, I think I'll be okay. Didn't account for how wet it would be in Ireland as opposed to Spain. Anyway, the rain is starting to come in, so I'm going to pack my gear away for a bit.
Your head is open, put your hood up. There's water dripping down it. It's going to get in under the hose.
We're just entering Anniscall now. Soaked. But not as bad as we thought it would be. Seems the storm is holding off for the most part, as it's just 12:30. Muggish cold on the cards, I think. First thing. We descended the hill towards Anniscall and headed straight to the great Irish explorer Tom Crean's old house and pub, the South Pole Inn. We warmed up and dried off with some tea and chowder before heading to our B&B for the night. After some rough wind and rain throughout the night, we woke early and got on our way to Dingle. Crossing over the forded river that gave its name to the town, which is probably Anniscall originally, judging from its anglicised form, meaning Ford of the Shadows. Delighted to be fueled with coffee, we headed back up into the hills to begin our final day. Modern Waha Carja. Tá lá iver a tree in Job on County Camino. And thankfully no rain forecast today, which has me and herself in great high spirits. We'll get to Dingle today. I think we're 20 kilometers from Anniscall to Dingle. Last night was a bit of a strange one because we got to Anniscall soaking. Went into the South Pole Inn for just a cup of tea. We got some chowder just to warm ourselves up. Top of the range stuff, and the internet was down and we didn't have any cash, so this is just classic Kerry behaviour that you wouldn't get in Dublin or in a lot of cities around Ireland. They were like, ah, you're staying up the road, eh? And we were like, yeah, go on, sure, come back down later and pay us. Grand. And of course we did. Like, we went back down for dinner then later on and we paid them for the 2 meals, but just to trust, they'll be fine, they'll be back. Like, they wouldn't think that you'd swindle them, you know. casual view behind me. But the B&B we stayed in was like a self-service B&B. So we arrived and then they leave at 9 o'clock. Lock the door. They're off. Just fair enough, they clock off work. But there was nobody else there last night. It was just me and Hannah and the whole B&B to ourselves for the night. But this is us now. About 18 kilometers out of Dingle. I'm desperately out of breath already. The views are amazing up here. Have a gander at this. An extra little tidbit of information about Kerry, the county of Kerry, the kingdom as it's known. It's named after a person, Ciar, C-I-A-R. And Ciar was a man who was banished from Cruachan, which was the seat of the king and, well, the queen at the time of Connacht in the west of Ireland. Cruachan is in modern Roscommon, and if you have happened to have seen my last video where I walked the route of Queen Maeve's army, Ciar is Queen Maeve's son, the son of Queen Maeve and Fergus MacRoach. He was not Queen Maeve's husband, but her lover. And Ailill, Queen Maeve's husband, got a little bit jealous that Fergus MacRoach and Maeve had a son, as you would, I suppose. And Ciar was banished from Cruachan and he headed south and founded the kingdom of Kerry. Rí meaning king, Oscailge in Irish. So Kerry, the king, or the kingdom of Ciar. So it's thought around the 1st century AD the kingdom was founded. Or Fergus MacRoach, he's a gas character because he Fergus means like manliness or masculine, and MacRoach means the son of the great stallion. So his name is literally like, you know, the manliest son of the great stallion. It's gas. But he was like supposed to be this incredible, like muscly, huge beast of a man who was gorgeous and just radiated sexuality. No woman could please him. Multiple women couldn't please him. And the same goes for Maeve. Although, you know, of the opposite gender, she was this attractive woman. Although she was never, I've never seen it actually said that she was attractive, but that it's that classic thing of, you know, a woman in power can't be feminine, she has to have all these masculine traits, which is a load of jabroni. But that she couldn't be satisfied by just one man or even 30 men until Fergus MacRoach came along. And Ailill, her husband, for the most part, put up with this sort of, you know, her just being unsatisfied and always seeking out more men and other men, until eventually she met Fergus. Fergus did it for her, but Ailill wasn't too happy. And then after the time about cooling, everything had cooled down, and King Conchobar MacNessa of Ulster had died and all the rest, Fergus MacRoach and Queen Maeve were swimming in a lake together, being all happy and in love and who knows what else. And Ailill saw them, was overcome with jealousy and convinced, I think it was his brother who was blind, that there was 2 deer playing in the lake, and he gave his blind brother, a spear and said, try and kill one of the deer. So he lobbed the spear, hit Fergus MacRoach, and killed him. And that was the end of Fergus. Killed by a blind man via the jealousy of his brother. You have to love Irish mythology. It's great stuff altogether. Hello. Huh? That just spooked.
Hi.
Oh my god.
Oh, you bastard!
It's mad the difference, like, in morale when the sun is out and when, you know, you're walking into these views. It's incredible. It's a little bit windy, but we're like right on the Atlantic Ocean, so this is actually about as good as it gets, I think. But yeah, everything feels good. Sun is shining. We're about 7 kilometers into 20k today, but I feel good today. I feel like I keep going, which is good because I have to keep going for the next 13 kilometers. But yeah, all's good. On we go. Disperunku. Ah. We are nearing Dingle. Hello, Mr. Sheep. Just disturbing his dinner. We're about 2 kilometers out of Dingle now. I have a mild injury in me right heel, which has slowed the pace down a fair bit today. It's 3:45. I think we probably should have got here to Dingle about an hour ago, so we're maybe an hour and a half slower than we should have been. It's been a tough old slog. Weather's been great, everything's been nice. Just an unfortunate that's nice. Just an unfortunate turn of events. Never had a heel injury before. I think it's my Achilles. Just using the poles and taking it easy today. Plenty of time, no rain forecast, so you can just take in the views and take as many breaks as necessary. But we're nearly in Dingle now. Look at that. Cracking trail. Where would you get it? With the town of Dingle and our end point in view, thoughts of showers, roast dinners, pints and rest fueled our remaining few kilometres. I was surprised to hear the town had around 15,000 hikers passing through annually. Myself and Hannah being some of the last of the season, as most of the B&Bs closed the next week until spring. We trudged up our last hill flanked by Kerry-coloured buildings to find the car and our finishing point. There's the car. Yeah. No tickets, no clamps. You love to see it. I did it. 61.5k, I think, over the 3 days. Not bad going at all. If you're wondering how the car magically appeared in Dingle, we drove to Dingle first and then got the bus to Tralee and then walked back to the car. Delighted to be finished. Amazing trail, would recommend, but maybe in spring or summer. Going to the B&B now for a shower. There wasn't one bad pint of Guinness on the Dingle Peninsula, or a bad meal, including our final one. Having nearly fallen asleep in my dessert, we headed back to our room early and slept for about 10 hours before driving back to Dublin the next day.